Dark World access, but it is technically a sequence break, so we'll see where those flippers are going to be, if it was required or if that's supposed to be our second second glove upgrade.
Oh no, and Salty gets hit while he's in the water.
Oh, that could be big if Zora ends up having something important. But I think Salty got what he wanted out of there in terms of getting that glove upgrade. So good job here. Oh, hey, it's David going to check here directly.
Looks like Salty's going to start doing the other part of Escape. And David likely taking the same path, as it's got the most chests left to go before getting into, while needing to go to Sahasrara and Eastern.
I'd like to play. I'm always a little bit nervous about going in here without Mirror, just because otherwise you would have to death warp out. But both of these players, with as little health as they have, it seems like a logical play.
Yeah, definitely agreed.
Trainwreck, just to point out, both of these runners are 2 and 3, so this is an elimination match. One thing I like to point out about these sorts of elimination matches is that it could indicate that these runners are going to take some bigger risks than what they normally end up taking. If it's a do or die situation, you really have no choice but to try to take a few additional risks. You don't want to, for example, we've seen both of these runners go ahead and do the sequence break into the glove.
Yeah, and we'll see what else it holds for them here later in the runs when their paths start diverging too. See what kind of changes they make to their paths, and trying to win this race. And just 300 rupees in that dungeon chest.
Yep, so nothing of value in the front part of Escape. We'll see. It would be a sequence break to go anywhere else, but it does look like SaltyPhry is going to go out of his way and check the back end of Escape here directly.
It'll make it really interesting if it holds any sort of progression item, as it would be a sequence break as mentioned before. Although now with the bottle from the front end of Escape, they can go check Sick Kid back in Kakariko. However, that is a long run.
It is, and usually you want to try to route some other things, and we'll see where SaltyPhry ends up going. Oh, hey, it's David. Looks like he's heading over to the Eastern Palace and Sahasrara area instead of doing that sequence break in the back end of Escape.
Which unfortunately only yielded an extra bottle for Salty. And we'll see if either of these runners check and see what the green pendant is, which is going to be in Dark World. For those that don't know, if you talk to Sahasrara, he will give you a hint as to where the green pendant is.
And oh, hey, it's David picking up the red mail. SaltyPhry right on his tail, going to be picking that up. It's interesting. We did see SaltyPhry do the sequence break with using the gloves to get into the back half of Eastern. Remember, the gloves were sequence broken by getting in the waterfall carry from using the Moon Pearl glitch at that point in time in Fake Flippers. So anything that they find using the gloves is going to be out of sequence, so to speak, until they find either the flippers or another glove upgrade.
Yep, and let's see. Oh, hey, it's David hopping into Eastern, which does not actually have an item requirement, so anything in here still currently in sequence, but we'll see if they do the dark room inside here.
good thing to point out, we also have not seen a witch check yet, and we got early mushroom in this seed. So it'll be interesting to see if that ends up actually leading us along the way for these runners. For example, if Flippers ends up being there, we're out of sequence break then.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they try to route in a witch check. If they might wait for a flute, possibly, in order to make it a quicker check. Or if they have to wait until maybe Dark World access to check Catfish along with Witch.
Here's my prediction. I think OhHeyItsDavid is a little bit more conscious about what the sequence break is. We saw SaltyPhry go ahead and dive in really quickly into the back end of Beastern, which is the sequence break. If David is a little bit more self-conscious about what is and isn't a sequence break, I can see him going ahead and trying to restore that sequence. And there's the Titansmith. So our first glove upgrade was actually supposed to be an Eastern.
Yeah, however, Titans is still technically a sequence break as we don't have Flippers to pick up that second glove upgrade in the Waterfall Fairy.
Absolutely. We just have to differentiate what's a normal glove requirement and what's a Titansmith upgrade. So we'll see what ends up happening here.
Yep. So now they are out of sequence break if they do go into Dark World, as they do have the hammer and the tier 1 glove.
Meanwhile, OhHeyItsDavid making me look like an idiot by saying he wouldn't sequence break by doing a dark room, because of course he is.
Isn't that part of the commentator's curse?
A little bit, yeah. Doesn't always happen, but both these runners going ahead and doing the dark rooms.
And just yielding the compass. So that darkroom sequence break not really paying off for either of them, unfortunately.
No, but they know the last item is definitely going to end up being on the Armos Knights, which they'll eventually have to go back and get anyway once they have the bow.
Yeah, and as you had noted before, David being aware of the sequence break, now doing the back half of Escape, most likely knowing that it's no longer a sequence break.
Yep, I'm sure he's keeping track. Both of these runners are actually incredibly capable of doing this, so absolutely not worried at all about keeping track of things. But nothing here. So we'll see where SaltyPhry ends up going after this. Is he going down to where? Oh, looks like he's going to check Hype Cave here directly.
Let's see how that turns out. It looks like David's going to be taking a different path, possibly going back to Kakariko.
Yep, looks like Crystal 5, we had our map check. Crystal 5 is in Thieves Town, and then the pendants are in Swamp Palace and Ice Palace. So guess what? Flippers are required, but only in order to get the Titansmith. After that, Flippers wouldn't be required. Ha! So,
go ahead.
I was going to say, is this going to be a Hype Cave or a Dud Cave, do you think?
I'm going to go with the Dead Cave, unfortunately.
And I wasn't able to see the Bloomerang, but that's it.
Yeah, I saw Bloomerang and a 20 rupee in the last chest.
So it was neither a Hype Cave nor a Dud Cave, it was a Lag Cave. See, I blame the blue Boomerang on that. I'm squarely in the red Boomerang camp here.
So you're reversing the lag with the blue. Got it.
Yep. See? Blue can cause lag too, guys. Does look like there's a sword upgrade, because I saw some sword beams there, though.
Yep. Looks like Master. And Fry looking to check the pyramid.
Meanwhile, OhHeyItsDavid opting for the ever-present, seemingly required in version 26, Skullwoods check.
Oh, and was that looks like Kana Samaria.
It's the cane. Shout out to Phantom Ryu, his favorite call out there. Oh, hey, it's David getting the first of 2 items in a full heart container. So we'll see what ends up happening here. David making his way up to Catfish, looks like.
Yeah, it would have to be. He doesn't have mirror to go to the witch, unfortunately.
That is kind of an out-of-the-way play to make. So I'm going to... This is kind of a risky play. We'll see if it ends up paying off for SaltyPhry here. I mean, David has some chance. Here's our route divergence that we were hoping for, though.
Yep, it's always good to see. Makes it more fun to watch and see which logic paths people are following. And just a full heart. Looks like David continuing his run into Skull Woods. Still has not yet found the big key, which could hold another item. Still looking for just one in here.
Doesn't look like he has it, and he's going to go ahead and use that Death Warp to get out.
And Fry making the play on Sick Kid, and most likely will go over to Dark World after they are done here. David routing up to check the Cape Cave, which just has a piece of heart.
We see SaltyPhry getting ready to make the same play into Skullwoods, following the meme, and it doesn't end up working out in anyone's favor at this point in time.
We'll have to see which part of Thieves Town David decides. Well, it starts with Sea House.
And Thieves Town being one of the 5-6 required makes it even more attractive to go ahead and knock out, even though he hasn't done Hype Cave yet. Any sword is good enough for blind. He will go down equally, doesn't matter if it's fighter or butter.
And also having red mail will help with his taking any hits that he would take from the fireballs.
Absolutely here. So we see SaltyPhry going ahead and stunning these Gibdos with that wonderful red boomerang, see?
And just 20 rupees out in the treasure chest game, and well, he's opening it up. We'll see if he actually goes in. Yep.
So we'll see at least the top 4, which is what some runners do, but more than likely we'll go ahead and see OhHeyItsDavid clearing this out. Gets the big key right off the bat.
Oh, and the hook shot.
Making plays there. So we have hook shot. Let's see, I'm just going through all of our possible items here.
Looks like Salty's taking a similar path to David in his checks, which makes sense. This is a spot that's very easy to forget the longer you go in the randomizer.
So it looks like SaltyPhry is going to go ahead and head down to Thieves Town and do the C-shaped house, following in OhHeyItsDavid's footsteps. Meanwhile, David is on this kind of second tier of Thieves Town, going to start his descent into it. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and do our quick what could possibly be on the pedestal and what cannot be on the pedestal. And I tell you what, looking at the list, it's kind of a long list at this point in time.
Yeah, let's see. What do we have for pendants? We've got Swamp Palace, we've got Hera, we've got Ice Palace.
Yep, and it's interesting to note that several of these, Swamp is pretty straightforward. You're going to need Mirror, you're going to need Hammer, you're going to need Hookshot. That's straightforward. However, Hera is interesting because you need either the lamp or the flute to navigate the dark room or bypass the dark room. And then you need either the mirror in order to get up the normal way or the hookshot hammer combo. So mirror could be on the pedestal and we still have a way around to get up into Tower of Hera at this point in time. Meanwhile, with Ice Palace, you need either Bombos or the Fire Rod. One or the other, you don't necessarily need both. So either one of those could be on the pedestal. And you absolutely do need the flippers and then the mitts that we already have. So at this point, the only thing that we can convincingly rule out that's on the pedestal is flippers and mirror, because mirror is required for Swamp. Otherwise, there's a lot that could be on that pedestal.
Yep, and I'm waiting to see some theory crafting as to some of the chains that can be out there for fetch quests and all of that leading up to a pedestal seed. Since we do have the mushroom already, we've got quite a bit left that can be done.
And there's the flips.
Alright, so we are no longer sequence broken.
And that's an absolute blessing, because otherwise they would have to dove into Eastern, go into Dark World, grab this, and then go up to the Waterfall Ferry to be able to get this. Whereas they have a lot of things that they can access with the Titan's Mint here in the Dark World, right in this vicinity. For example, pulling the Jeremiah turn-in and navigating there to the south of Hyrule. So definitely a valuable sequence break there.
Oh, yeah. It was a great call by both runners to take that sequence break. And David making excellent work of blind. That was an amazing fight.
Oh, that was an incredibly quick fight there by OhHeyItsDavid. Picking up one of his 5-6 crystals right there. Well done. SaltyPhry on his way down and descending. So we'll see where OhHeyItsDavid. At this point, SaltyPhry does have a little bit of advantage because he did check things like Hype Cave and Catfish. But otherwise, David making pretty good time here.
Yeah, they both have excellent pathing and fighting skills going through here. But yeah, David needs to. He looks like he's going to be taking the entire route, checking peg caves, probably checking smiths. We'll see if he decides to do purple chest or not, which would require a save and quit.
Well, purple chest would require save and quit, and also the smiths would require a save and quit as well. So we'll see which he decides. I mean, he has to do smiths first anyway.
And the validation of green rupee. Yeah, now that you mention, I can't see him taking that path with smiths, just due to the actual amount of time it would take.
And it looks like David's going to start with the digging game. Smart move, because you can't actually take Jeremiah with you to the digging game. Alec Baldwin here kicks you out before you can actually do it.
And looks... Oh, and there's a lamp.
Hey, that's good to see. So that's officially Death Mountain access. Kind of the roundabout way to get you up to Tower of Hera, but that will get you there. And with everything else that's up there, I'll be able to clear out both Light World Death Mountain and Dark World Death Mountain.
Yep, and he will also be able to check which pendant Turtle Rock requires, which will actually be some pretty nice information to have.
And we are on Jeremiah's world tour right at the moment, checking. He's going to be checking Stumpy here. He's going to be checking likely Hype Cave. He might even go up to Catfish, but he might check Pyramid as well. SaltyPhry already checking a lot of these locations. OhHeyItsDavid routing these together into one sort of world tour. I have to say, I think I'd like OhHeyItsDavid's routing a little bit better in this situation.
Yeah, I do too. And Salty actually going into the fight with Blind now. Not quite as clean, but still a very good fight, only taking 1, maybe 2 hits.
An amazing Ampharos pointing out in chat, and this is worth noting, Mirror is not necessarily required for this entire seed. Because Mirror is required only to get into Swamp Palace, and Swamp Palace is a pendant, we could just be excluding that entire dungeon.
Okay, and now we're seeing Hype Cave over on David's side, which looks like it was just Bloomerang, Master Sword, a heart, and then 20 rupees. David likely going to check the Pyramid from here.
Yep, we'll see if he ends up routing Pyramid together with Catfish. We didn't see anything on SaltyPhry's over in Catfish, but I can't recall exactly what it was. Either way, OhHeyItsDavid will have to save and quit and then restart from the Sanctuary to be able to take the frog back home to the Smiths.
So David going to pick up his cane here on Pyramid, which I'm sure he'll be very happy to find.
Yeah, not searching for that cane before both Mire and Turtle Rock is definitely something off your chest when you're looking for. The other big stress item is, of course, Ice Rod when you see Turtle Rock required, because Ice Rod is one of those things that can literally be anywhere in the game.
Yeah, which always makes it a very strong troll item.
David looking like he is going to introduce our micro frog friend to the Catfish. I really hope the Catfish doesn't think the frog is a tasty snack.
And Salty looks like he's starting his world tour with the frog as well.
Yes, but keep in mind, Salty has already checked both Hype Cave and Catfish and Pyramid, so he's going to check Stumpy and then be able to save him quick right away. So these runners, we're looking at a real quick sync here that's going to happen between these two.
Which honestly, after 30 minutes into a randomizer, being this close is pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Always interesting to see. So these guys are not quite holding hands, but definitely within a screen of each other. This is the definition of hype, exactly what you want to see out of a 2-3 elimination match.
So now we're gonna have to see where they're gonna go after sending the Smith home. Are they gonna choose to go over to Dark World and take the purple chest over, or possibly move to, say, Tower of Hera and both Light and Dark East Death Mountain?
I mean, it'll be an interesting play either way. I would venture to guess that they would up just a piece of heart from the Smiths. I would venture to guess to say they're going to go ahead and try the Death Mountain route just because of the sheer number of items that you can get up there, as opposed to just one chest from Gary's lunchbox.
Oh, looks like David's actually... Is he gonna do the mushroom glitch?
He's going to do the mushroom glitch. This could be big if this ends up being an awesome sequence break. He just has to empty his magic. Yep, and here's we're going to see it, the famed fake powder glitch.
There it is. Let's see what the bat holds for us.
This could be big if it ends up being something important. Again, neither runners have turned in the mushroom yet, and it's a piece of heart. Or full heart. Yeah.
However, if they do get the powder somewhere soon, that will actually rule out a location for David to check that Salty will have to go back for.
Yeah, that's going to play into the back of your mind if you end up getting powder at some point along the lines. It's a sequence break, yes, but it's one more thing that you're avoiding. So instead of going up, OhHeyItsDavid is going to check. Looks like he's going to this back half of escape this way for this last treasure chest that's in here. It's kind of a gutsy play. I'm interested to see if it pans out for OhHeyItsDavid, following the logic, but eschewing the traditional route up Death Mountain.
And Salty giving us our first look at the caves up here. Oh, and there's another fetch quest item, the shovel.
That's what you don't want to see at that particular location, because it takes so much time to go out of the way, and you're going to start a fetch quest, and it may end up being nothing, but you can't ignore it.
Yeah, especially being this early and having so many items left that you need to get, having a fetch quest can just be demoralizing.
It didn't look like OhHeyItsDavid found anything necessarily worthwhile there, so now he's going to start his ascent up Death Mountain. Will likely follow the same routing that SaltyPhry is doing right now. SaltyPhry a little bit of advantage right now because he didn't do some of those other things.
Yeah, and Salty making his way over to East Side Death Mountain.
We'll get to see Paradox Cave and Spiral Cave. It'll be interesting to see if he goes ahead and does Tower of Hera while he's in the neighborhood. Again, Tower of Hera has 2 items that are located in it. It is a pendant dungeon, but as we've seen so often in this version 26 logic, if a dungeon is available, go ahead and do it because it could contain the item that is absolutely required.
Yes, definitely. At least making sure that you count the items that you have in each dungeon so that you aren't completing it unnecessarily. But, ooh, and there's Ether.
Our first medallion. We don't know what's on Turtle Rock or Mire quite yet, but that could end up being very important.
And there's Quake.
Okay, so far Light World Death Mountain giving us a bunch of health and a couple of coins. So we'll see where SaltyPhry goes. Is he going to go right to Dark World, or is he going to check out Tower of Hera before he heads that way?
And it looks like with that bomb jump, he's at least going to go up and do Spiral Cave, I would expect.
Well, we'll see, because you can go over and do Tower of Hera and then jump out and do Spiral Cave. It's sometimes a better routing decision. We'll see what decision he ends up making, though.
Oh, looks like he's going to do the Tower of Hera play.
Yeah, but it's a little bit more efficient. It's less climbing to do up Death Mountain if you can route Tower of Hera in and then climb back down the backside. Meanwhile, OhHeyItsDavid is heading to this east side right away.
Oh, and David making the bomb jump out of Spectral Rock Cave, so that he didn't have to take the long route around.
That's an awesome play by OhHeyItsDavid, saving him a little bit of time. SaltyPhry going to go ahead and pick up the big key in this first area, so he won't have to do the basement quite yet. We'll see if he gets both items or if he has to route that down later.
And basement being a place that no runner ever really wants to go to just because of the time it takes to get through it.
Well, runners don't want to see it, but we absolutely want to see them have to go through it because we always like to see torturous seeds.
As noted by my expected pedestal seed earlier.
OhHeyItsDavid also doing a bomb jump. Lots wonderful bomb jumps by both of these runners right now, I just have to say.
Yeah, that's... Oh, and there's the mirror.
So, we're in the Tower of Hera, which is one pendant. We've now gotten the final item between Mirror Hammer and Hookshot for Swamp Palace access, which is the second pendant. We could be looking at some pedestal hype here pretty soon, guys.
It's definitely giving you an indication of that. And David opening up might actually be opening up Turtle Rock if he has the magic for it.
Now he's going to go ahead and drink. That's interesting that he's going ahead drinking magic to be able to open up Turtle Rock already. Can't really do a whole lot in Turtle Rock. He does have the cane, but only, depending on the key layout, can only really get one treasure chest unless it ends up helping him out. So yeah, avoiding Turtle Rock for now.
Looks like he's going to be walking down the dark side of Death Mountain here. Let's see what he picks up out of Super Bunny Cave.
And I don't believe we got the second item out of, or did we get the second item out of Tower of Hera and I just missed it?
Unfortunately, if we did get it, I missed it as well.
Oh, green rupee. Okay.
And David doing Hookshot Cave. Actually, it looks like Salty's going to be making the same play to at least go to Turtle Rock to get into Dark World. Oh, and the Fire Rod for OhHeyItsDavid.
And guess what? That's our access to Ice Palace as well.
And half magic. That is always a great sight to see. Seeds where Ice Palace and Turtle Rock are in there.
Yeah, Hookshot Cave definitely bringing the goods here. So just to recap, for our pedestal seed hype, all three pendant dungeons are currently clearable. We just don't know what's going to be on the pedestal. Also clearable, we can't quite clear Turtle Rock yet, although it looks like David might be heading up that direction again.
Yeah, did he miss anything, or is he just actually going to go back up? Oh, he did not do Tower of Hera quite yet.
He didn't, but with that Fire Rod, he may opt to go ahead and do Turtle Rock, because the only thing that is missing for him to be able to clear Turtle Rock is that Ice Rod. And as you know, definitely a lot of items can be in Turtle Rock. Oh, but he's going over to Tower of Hera. Anyway.
Yeah, Turtle Rock is not generally a bad play, as it does have, I believe, 5 items in it to pick up.
So the items that we are currently missing that could, I mean, we're still missing Bow to clear out Eastern Palace and Pod. We are still missing, let's see, either the flute or the book to get to Desert Palace, because without one of those two, that you can't get into desert. Skullwoods you can go ahead and clear out because we have the ice. We have the fire rod. Misery Mire, we need the flute as well, and then Turtle Rock, to complete it, you need the ice rod. So it looks like Skull Woods, which both items might already... Well, we're still missing one item from Skull Woods. So otherwise, it looks like you can't quite clear anything out except the pendant dungeons.
Which in V26 is not too uncommon. As you'd mentioned before, it's just if the dungeon is available, you might as well go in and do it. And Salty with the mirror shield opens up the laser bridge.
Laser bridge logic, of course, requiring either the riot shield or an invincibility item like the Cane of Burna or the cloak. So SaltyPhry does have the ability to go ahead and clear out all the treasures except for Trinex at this point in time. Could be pointing him very strongly in that direction.
Now it looks like he's heading back up there and in Dark World, so there's a good chance that he'll be going in there.
Oh, and SaltyPhry is making the play! This is hype for SaltyPhry, going ahead and doing an early T-Rock. He doesn't have Ice Rod, so unless he finds Ice Rod in here, it will require a double dip, but still hyped at this point in time for SaltyPhry in this play.
And there's still a possibility that Turtle Rock is a required double dip too, depending on what items he gets out of here.
Absolutely, and with all the items and all the chests that are possible here, it's certainly I'm not going to call it necessarily a smart play, but it's a play I'd make, especially when you're in an elimination match like this and everything seems to be pointing that direction. Go ahead and do it.
Nothing big in the first chest. We'll see what happens in the rolling room here. David opting to save and quit, so he is not doing the Hera basement either.
No, and we'll see where he ends up going. I don't know. Oh, he's probably checking shovel real quick.
Not a bad play. It looked like he was initially going to do Swamp Palace, but seemed to question that initial thought.
Yeah, I mean, I can't necessarily blame him for wanting to make the Swamp Palace play. There's a lot of items that are in Swamp Palace. It takes a little bit of time to clear, but it has quite a few items for you to go ahead and get. I wouldn't blame him. And if it ends up being a pedestal required seed, then that ends up being the play, I think.
Yeah, if it is a pedestal required, he would definitely be ahead of the curve with 2 pedestals getting ready for it.
So both of these runners making plays right now. SaltyPhry heading over, doing a Turtle Rock, and looks like OhHeyItsDavid might be finally turning in this mushroom to see what we have here. This could be big, because we've had mushroom from the very beginning. It was the first or second chest we opened.
Yep, which means it could literally, well, it could hold almost anything. However, we'll see if it ends up being something that's actually useful or something that sends him on a wild goose chase too.
If it ends up being something like bow, I'm going to cackle hysterically.
And it's just 20.
Just 20. So, OhHeyItsDavid taking time out of his way to go ahead and do it. Getting bit there. We'll see where he ends up going next.
Yeah, it might have bit him. However, he won't have that sitting in the back of his mind. Fry, still having both the shovel and the mushroom, might actually end up thinking about it later on and having to go do those anyway.
So far, nothing for SaltyPhry out of here, but he's making quick work as he's working his way through here.
And it looks like David's making the play on Skull Woods.
It's a crystal dungeon. You can go ahead and complete it, and you know at least one item is still available. I don't blame him for making this play at all.
Agreed. And it looks like Salty's getting set up for Mimic Cave.
He's trying to work it so these mimics end up being where he can sword slash them or hammer hit them. Not finding a lot of success.
Yeah, those can be annoying to move, depending on where you want them to go. Opting to no longer worry about it and just bomb them.
And SaltyPhry is just struggling with these quite a bit. Just Roop, so nothing doing for SaltyPhry here. He's got a couple more opportunities here. But this early Turtle Rock dive might be a dud. Wouldn't that be something?
It would be unfortunate, however, him doing it now means that he could actually... Oh, and the bow!
Bow! So that will open up both Eastern and Pod for SaltyPhry, making the play there. That's going to end up being big. Reverse commentator's curse. Whatever I say, it might be looking down. It's looking great.
Wow, the return on investment there was amazing.
Yeah, someone clip that. Might be a dud. Immediately finds bow.
And it looks like he's going to go and do Laser Bridge, which should hold the last of the items, unless Trinex has it, of course.
Yep, it could be interesting if Ice Rod ends up being locked somewhere in Eastern Palace or Pod. That means that Turtle Rock would be a required double dip.
Oh, the possible trolls.
Absolutely. If SaltyPhry doesn't find the Ice Rod somewhere in here, he's going to have to mirror out and come back later. But still, finding the value there with the bow.
Yes, that gives him 2 more dungeons that he can completely clear, already having done most of Eastern with an item off of Armos coming up here too.
And he's immediately going to go over and do the Pod Eastern combo. I cannot blame him one bit. He's still in sequence. That unlocks a lot of Pod to see things like Ice Rod on the back there, things like Flute, Boots, Book. Just the possibilities are endless at this point in time.
And it looks like he's going to be starting with Pod, which is a great choice, as when he finishes Pod and exits, he'll be able to just mirror and go immediately into Eastern, which he wouldn't be able to do if he started with Eastern.
Yep, definitely a solid routing decision made by Vets. We see OhHeyItsDavid now checking kind of the graveyard ledge right now, which is one of those out-of-the-way locations that if you're not careful can sneak up on you and have an important item. We'll see if it ends up paying off for David here.
He has been checking a lot of the out-of-the-way locations. He did Shovel, he did Mushroom, and now he's doing this cave. It's things that Salty hasn't done yet.
Yeah, OhHeyItsDavid is taking a gamble that these out-of-the-way overworld locations are going to end up having the value, and so far they have not been. So these risks not paying off for OhHeyItsDavid. Meanwhile, SaltyPhry, with the early dip into Turtle Rock, finding the bow, that's going to create a lot of value for him.
Yeah, for sure. Giving him essentially 6 items, if I recall correctly, between Pod and the last item in Eastern.
Meanwhile, OhHeyItsDavid looks like he's going to route and try to head over to Pod, trying to find something. Or not.
Oh, he's hitting the hobo under the bridge.
Oh, this could be something. I think this is our first hobo check.
Yes, it is. After both runners did the fake flippers early on, this will be the first hobo check. That is a rich hobo.
I was going to say, that's a hobo who does not trust the banking system and just keeps all of his roops underneath his pillow at night. So at this point in time, it does look like SaltyPhry has his advantage right now. He's done the double dip, he has bow, he has a lot more options unlocked. OhHeyItsDavid does still have a chance. It's going to have to be a pedestal required seed for something like boots or ice rod. We'll see if he ends up making the play into these areas, but that's about the only way OhHeyItsDavid will be able to catch up at this point in time.
And it looks like he's going to check the ledge down here with the mirror.
I guess it is worth noting that OhHeyItsDavid is following some logic here. He found the mirror in the pendant dungeon in Tower of Hera, so he may be thinking, go where the mirror is leading you. And gets Cane of Brine and is going to say, nope, no sir.
And that just speaks to some of the quality of the runners that we have here when they choose to not pick up an invulnerability item, knowing that they have confidence in their own playstyle.
And it's the 2 and 3 runners that have confidence in their playstyle, knowing what they have to do. That's just even more impressive in my mind.
Agreed.
Oh no, and OhHeyItsDavid going over here and checking Gary's lunchbox. Continuing to check these overworld locations. Meanwhile, SaltyPhry, who checked the dungeon locations, is going ahead and continuing progress. This is bad news for OhHeyItsDavid.
Yeah, he definitely needs to find a required item in some of these overworld locations in order to catch back up.
Absolutely. It's really kind of unfortunate right now. And he's going to go ahead and get Dark World access, so he'll be able to route in together and do looks like Swamp as soon as he's done with Gary's lunchbox here.
And it looks like Fry is now literate, picking up an item in Pod. It doesn't seem like there have been any other really required or useful items coming out of here, unfortunately.
You say very few, but that does give us access to Desert Palace, which is another one of the 5-6 crystals. So that could be big in terms of unlocking the Pyramid Fairy for us.
True. And OhHeyItsDavid looking like he's going to make a play on Swamp Palace.
Yep, this is kind of OhHeyItsDavid's best option at this point in time. I really wish he would have dove into T-Rock, but SaltyPhry making that play and getting the bow. If it ends up being a pedestal required seed, this could play into OhHeyItsDavid's advantage if we're still looking for the Ice Rod at some point in time.
Salty continuing to clear his way through Pod, and there's the big key, which unfortunately he went through the north side already. So we'll have to see if he makes another trip to go open the big chest or not.
It'll be a risk. He hasn't found the compass yet, so he could be going ahead and doing Helmasaur, hoping that he gets the item and not the compass. Otherwise, he may have to double dip in here.
Yeah, that definitely being the more efficient play for him.
Meanwhile, OhHeyItsDavid making his way through Swamp Palace. He has all the items required to go ahead and clear this out. We'll see. We shall see. So while these runners are navigating their respective dungeons, we'll give another shout out. If you like what you see from OhHeyItsDavid or SaltyPhry, give them a follow on Twitch or Twitter or whatever their preferred means of social media happen to be. Also, shout outs to Dude and Feasel, our trekker and restreamer, and of course our commentators, Angska and myself, Vatasia. We all love you.
And it looks like David just picked up the big key, so he'll be able to check that before going into... Oh, it looks like he's going to do left side first, or possibly just open it up prior to going on.
Yeah, if you're here for items, you go ahead and clear out left side. I don't mind this play, whatever.
And Salty making quick work of King Helmasaur.
Nope, getting the silver kill. Awesome play there. Oh, and there's the nachos. So SaltyPhry, we'll see if he ends up diving back down for that big chest there.
Honestly, it would be pretty interesting to see him not go back in, just to see if that plays. Nope, he's going back in immediately. I definitely like this play a lot better, just because of removing locations possible for any of the items necessary for go mode.
Well, and at this point, we are looking for Flute and Ice Rod and possibly boots. Also possibly bombos. We don't know what's going to be required for Misery Mire yet, so that could require bombos. We also don't know if boots are going to be required for the desert, and we've seen a lot of desert required seeds. I think it's a 1 in 4 chance, and David does pick up the boots in the meanwhile.
And that should start speeding up his run considerably.
Absolutely.
Now, I wonder the play that David's going to make after finding the boots in a pendant swamp palace. If he's going to try and go after Desert Palace and clear that out and then move from there, or if he's going to try and go to, say, Turtle Rock.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see. SaltyPhry, meanwhile, getting his swag strats on with the bug net.
So Salty actually, is this Salty's first trip into Eastern?
Nope, he went in here earlier because he has the Titan's Mitt.
That's right, he must have forgotten himself.
Yep, I think he just simply forgot that he had been in here before.
And that can happen to everybody. Just going on autopilot, going through a dungeon and going, all right, I need to go here. And then going, oh, wait. Oh, and there's the ice rod.
There's the ice rod. Wow. Okay. So, We do know that Swamp Palace will be required in order to get through Trinex. That might point OhHeyItsDavid back up to Turtle Rock because he can go ahead and clear it out without backpedaling now. That could be the big equalizer in time here as we see this route divergence between these two.
Yes, we'll have to see how long it takes Salty to start to go into Swamp Palace in order to go back and clear Trinex out.
Well, at this point between the two runners, again, we have David won't be able to quite do Desert Palace quite yet, even though he has the boots, because he doesn't have the book. SaltyPhry does have the book, but may avoid it because if it ends up being a boots required Desert Palace, he may avoid it. He may risk it, though, after this. We'll see what decision he ends up making. Really, as chat points out, it's going to be who finds the flute first, because flute can also bypass that requirement for the book to get to desert. And SaltyPhry, as I say it, reverse commentator's curse, gets the flute from Eastern.
Oh my, this is going to make for very interesting, because that opens up, well, doesn't quite open up Misery Mire, as we don't know if it's Bombos or not, but definitely kind of pushes Salty in that direction.
Absolutely, and that might actually not benefit Salty because he'll be able to do Misery Mire and check to see what's going to be available there, pushing him away from Swamp Palace, which even though it's a pendant, we do know it's a required dip into because of the Ice Rod.
And that actually opens up Desert Palace for him as well well, actually, as you've noted before, he might not go into it just because he might not be able to clear it, but at least he's able to enter it and check for possibly an item or two.
Yeah, so Salty is going to take the long walk over here. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for your Swag Duck National Anthem. So, yeah, as chat points out, this could come down to when does David decide to go to Turtle Rock to get that bow, and and there's the powder! And then when does SaltyPhry decide to go into Ice Palace? We'll see. And I think David's making the play.
And Salty actually still needs to go into Swamp Palace to pick up his Ice Rod.
Yep, this could be big. Salty does have a little bit of time to give because of all the overworld locations that David checked while waiting, so could be interesting to see what exactly happens.
And Salty now with 3 different fetch quests that he could potentially do.
And as chat noting, Mire is Bombos locked, the one medallion that neither person has, so not going to be able to check Mire for a little bit. We still have pedestal hype if Bombos ends up being on the pedestal.
And Salty checking the Bonk pedestal, so Desert Palace is not boot required. David looks like he's going to be going in and clearing out Turtle Rock, hopefully in its entirety.
And OhHeyItsDavid will be able to go ahead and clear this out without requiring the double dip. That's going to be a major time saver for OhHeyItsDavid.
So David's overworld checks and breadcrumbs that he received from those overworld checks is... We'll see if it saves him in the long run, but it looks like it's going to be saving him some time initially.
This seed is definitely going to come down to the wire, as we expect from a 2-3 elimination seed. I'm loving this.
You and me both. This is an amazing watch.
SaltyPhry moving his way through Desert Palace. I don't know what items we've actually seen here in Desert yet. Nothing, it looks like. Not Bombos, which is kind of the main thing that we're looking for at this point in time, isn't it?
Yep, so there was a fairy on the boot-locked pedestal. And I believe we've only seen map and possibly compass. David going through this always dangerous chain chomp room. Oh, and just 20 rupees. So unfortunately, with Salty not picking up any new items inside of Desert Palace, there isn't a whole lot of other information to go on outside of checking the Mire area cave and the Checkerboard cave. And David is making his way through Turtle Rock pretty easily. He's making pretty good time through here.
So SaltyPhry checking these last few locations, hoping to find Bombos or some other item. Man, we're running out of locations. It very well could be a required Bombos pedestal, isn't it?
Oh, and Fry finding the cape.
And I believe, if I recall, the bumper cave was just a piece of heart, so nothing necessarily required there.
Right, and Agnes cave was, well, see, I thought Agnes was the 20 rupees, so we kind of flipped that around there, but that's okay. David should be finishing out Turtle Rock here, knowing that it is definitely not a sequence break, as he found Cane of Brian in the Mirror Ledge. For the laser bridge, I should say.
And now we're going to get to see SaltyPhry go up here into Skullwoods, and I imagine he's also going to do a pedestal check while he's up here. You want to check pedestal before you commit to having to full clear Ice Palace and Swamp Palace. If you know your last required item, like Bombos, is on the pedestal, you can kind of go mode those two and make it relatively quick. So we'll see what exactly happens here.
However, hopefully he doesn't actually go mode it and gets a little extra boost in speed, as the boots for David at this point will help him gain some extra speed over Fry. I know the difference between having boots and not having boots might be a minute and a half over the course of an hour and a half run, but that can make the difference between winning and losing.
Absolutely, especially when the two runners are as close as this is. David going to have to use some pretty interesting laser bridge strats. He does not have the required riot shield. He also, remember, bypassed the cane of Brian earlier, so he's kind of playing a risky game here.
Oh no! And this bridge is playing a little bit of a spoiler for David here. We'll see if he actually goes for the safety strat of opening up the lower entrance path, just in case of a death.
And at this point, you're at 3 hearts. He's been knocked off several times. I would go ahead and do the safety right now without taking a second check here.
Definitely the right play to make when you're in this position.
Meanwhile, SaltyPhry is doing his Mothula here. And we'll get our pedestal check here directly. This ought to be a very interesting pedestal check here.
Yeah, we'll have to see if the dream lives or dies.
Oh, and very nice cane dash there by OhHeyItsDavid. Although, going to be entering this Trinex fight. Okay, he'll use his blue goo there.
Definitely the safe play to make there, with Trinex easily being able to take somebody out at that low of a heart count. And David going with the menu strats out to hammer.
Well, I mean, otherwise he's only got Master Sword, so I don't blame him for this. And here comes our pedestal check. Pedestal hype.
Oh! And with that, the pedestal dream lays to rest.
And 27 seeds that have commented in a row without a pedestal seed. Sad day.
And here I was hoping to break your streak. David going into the last part of the Trinex fight.
That means Bombos has to be somewhere in Ice Palace, doesn't it?
Yes. Because everything else is cleared out, unless it's in an overworld location that hasn't been checked yet, which there aren't many, if any, left.
Well, we do have Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb that could possibly have it. I don't think David decided to check that after getting boots. He went right up to T-Rock. And Spike Cave as well.
Yeah, I did like the Turtle Rock play, as that was, statistically speaking, the best numbers. Let's see, and where is he going?
I have no idea where he's going.
Is he going to be taking... was that 5 and 6 that he completed? Pyramid Fairy check. Must be. Oh, maybe not.
Nope, he's just using that one to go over to Eastern instead of taking the other one. That's... I don't know which routing is actually faster. They're both relatively quick, though.
Yeah, without Flute, this might... maybe 5 seconds? But any efficiencies you can get in a race like this are definitely need to be taken.
Meanwhile, SaltyPhry with that win over, looks like He's going to go ahead and do the Pyramid Fairy now.
And David making the plays into Palace of Darkness and likely moving into Eastern Palace shortly after that.
And with all the straightaways that are in here, OhHeyItsDavid is going to be able to cut off a not insignificant amount of time as he's going through this dungeon, if he routes things correctly.
For sure. And we're seeing a Fat Fairy check from Fry here. We'll see what she holds.
Bombos! So we are in now commentators go mode. SaltyPhry is not yet officially in go mode. He still is going to have to go down into Swamp Palace to get that ice rod. So we'll see how long it takes him to head that way. But it looks like he's going to opt instead to do the Crystal Dungeon, hoping to find it there. Not a bad play. We just know eventually he'll have to go that route.
Yeah, clearing out the places that you know are required to go regardless. Unfortunately for Fry, doing a full clear of Misery Mire is definitely a very slow play.
Especially if there's going to be an early big key for SaltyPhry. That would play into OhHeyItsDavid's hand. The difference here isn't that staggering. We'll see when SaltyPhry decides, if he decides to go to Ice Palace for that ice rod first, which would definitely set him back. Meanwhile, OhHeyItsDavid, if he just continues to follow the logic here, he's doing Pod at Eastern Palace, and getting the book, will be able to do Desert. I think OhHeyItsDavid is in pretty good shape, all things considered, right now. It just depends on what play SaltyPhry ends up making after Mire.
Definitely.
And Kenta Kurodani, I'm stealing that. We're not in go mode, we're in no mode. As in KNOW. I like it.
Oh, and David making the bomb jump here, or the hammer jump, I believe it is called.
Yeah, the hammer jump, and successfully gets it. So he's going to be able to avoid, and his routing decisions here means that he's not going to have to double back. That's more time saved by OhHeyItsDavid over SaltyPhry here. This is turning out to be a really, really close race.
And Fry finding the key, the big key on the bridge, very, very early in Misery Mire.
That's another play to OhHeyItsDavid. We'll see. It all depends on what play SaltyPhry makes after he completes Misery Mire. He is going to full clear this, looking for that ice rod, and is not going to find it, because we in chat and in commentary know exactly where he needs to go to get that. So OhHeyItsDavid is going to complete his run and going to be able to route in Helmasaur here directly. Really pretty quick routing by OhHeyItsDavid through here. And he gets his literacy. So the question here, but for these two runners, because it's very, very close at this point in time, does David follow the logic and end up continuing to follow sequence with the book, doing Pod, and then into Eastern, which will guide him over to Desert? Or will SaltyPhry make the play into Swamp Palace first? Whichever one does has the advantage at this point in time, because right now it is too close to call here, chat. And OhHey makes a point if SaltyPhry ends up finding Tempered somewhere along the way, because OhHeyItsDavid would go mode this once he has Bombos. That could also make the difference once you're against Ganon, for example, if we find no other swords along the way.
Yeah, it would definitely make the Ganon fight much, much quicker, as Salty would not have to do spin dashes in order to move Ganon into the next phase.
Yep, the difference between Master Sword and Tempered is staggering. 24 spins if you're in Master Sword, but only 12 strikes if you're in Tempered. So it's a massive difference between those two swords there. And SaltyPhry officially confirms that Meyer is empty. We'll see what play he ends up making next. It could make or break. Ice Palace could be the riskier gamble. There are more treasure chests in Swamp, so I'm going to presume he makes that play, but we never know. We never know, and that's the great thing about Randomizer. You never really know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, and adding to that, with these runners being both 2 and 3 and on the edge of elimination, they may make the lower percentage gamble in order to see if it'll give them an edge. And Ice Palace could definitely be that, which as we know, would be unfortunately a bad gamble.
SaltyPhry with the very nice one cycle with the silvers.
And David choosing to use silvers on the Stalfos room as well. That's not something I've ever seen before, actually.
Yeah, any sort of projectile ends up working there. Always nice to see that. Meanwhile, David's working his way through Eastern, and we'll see SaltyPhry. What play does Salty make? This is going to determine a lot in this race right now, I think.
Yeah, this will definitely determine if it's going to be a close race or if it unfortunately ends one side. And it looks like Swamp's going to be the play.
Swamp is going to be the play. This is big for SaltyPhry.
Now I forget, were boots before ice or after Ice Rod?
I believe boots were before, because Ice Rod, if you go mode this place, you would find Ice Rod, but not boots. Boots were on the west side. And Salty's looking like he's going to check some of these other overworld locations first.
And this is where David's routing early in the match might come back to pay off for him.
Yep, Salty going to check a lot of these locations. He's got to do the digging spot. He's got to do some of the ledge locations. So Salty double checking himself on some of these close locations.
David saving and quitting. Definitely going to open up his flute so he can clear out Desert and Misery Mire.
Yep, he's going to find out that Misery Mire is going to be locked to do Desert, and then I can imagine him doing the Pyramid very quickly thereafter.
One would hope he does. However, that would still be a good play, actually, based on numbers. Salty going through purple chests now?
Looks like he's going to do these overworld locations that just end up taking a lot of time. He also has book, so he's going to be checking things like the tablets as well. man, oh hey, it's David. Starting Misery Mire and realizing, oh, nope.
And it looks like he's going to do some of the overworld mire locations, which won't get him what he needs, but not a bad check.
Yeah, it's all about routing decisions at this point in time.
Now we'll see if he does checkerboard cave or not. From what I've seen, checkerboard generally doesn't have an item. And it looks like he's going to go check it.
And that's fine.
Yeah. If nothing else, at least to clear the question out of his mind of whether or not it had the item or not.
And much like the staff of Burna, oh hey, it's David is eschewing the cape, so hoping that this red mail is going to end up being the better play for him. SaltyPhry, meanwhile, heading into the Dark World with Gary's lunchbox. I think he's going to route into the Bombos tablet in with Gary's lunchbox as well.
Which is definitely an efficient routing choice. And as far as David is concerned, with red mail and as many hearts as he has, along with now 4 bottles, he should be pretty good to go without Cave of Burna and the cape.
He should be, but Master Sword Ganon is its own special beast, so I don't know. I might pick up something myself if I were the runners, but I can't necessarily blame these guys for not doing it.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they'll end up at least filling up bottles and such before going into fight Ganon, if they still have Master Sword when they have to fight him. And there is Tempered.
That'll be big for SaltyPhry as he moves through. Won't necessarily help him with many bosses because he's cleared out just about all of them. But I think, I think he's making the play over here to Swamp Palace now.
Yep, it looks like Swamp Palace, and that Temper Sword is going to give him a huge edge in that Ganon fight, so we'll see how far behind he actually is once he finishes up. Oh,
and he's floating away?
He's going to ice. Oh no!
Oh no! Oh, he's checking Ice Rod Cave. He's checking for vanilla location.
Oh man,
that could be. Oh man, that's gonna be huge. This is a good minute that SaltyPhry is spending doing this. He had it set up too.
It was just another one of those overworld locations that was nagging at him in the back of his head. It must have been.
We'll see where he goes now. If he ends up going back to Swamp, or does he end up going and checking other overworld locations?
Oh no, it looks like ice.
He's gonna make the ice. Oh wow! No, SaltyPhry.
Okay,
Hobo,
so
he's checking Hobo.
Just so many of these overworld locations that hadn't been checked before, and it's paying so many dividends for David right now.
Even though there was nothing at these items, it's just gnawing at the back of SaltyPhry's head because he wants to check these in case, just in case, because they were available and unlocked so long ago.
And having to commit to either of the remaining dungeons that are not pendant, that are not crystals, are just a massive time investment too.
Oh,
okay.
And it looks like he's going now. Okay.
And leaving the mirror location there was an excellent play, actually, allowing him to check the overworld locations and coming back without having to go back to the uncle's house and then route to Dark to route into mirror again.
Meanwhile, oh hey, it's David. Not quite sure where. Oh, he hasn't. No, he's checked the lunchbox, hasn't he?
I believe so.
Oh, he's checking Spike Cave and or
He's doing... I thought he was going to do a pedestal check, but I guess... Oh, he's doing Bonk Rocks and Spike Cave. Or, King's Tomb.
Yep, okay, so this is going to be... Right now, advantages in SaltyPhry, because once he has his Ice Rod, he's officially in go mode and just has to make his way back up to Turtle Rock, able to clear that dungeon last. That's the nice thing about double dipping Turtle Rock. If you have to climb Death Mountain already a second time, being able to route that together means it plays a little bit into your advantage. It makes it less punishing to double dip T-Rock.
Yeah, especially being able to switch... go directly to Trinex and just clear him out and then move on. And David making a really nice minor play that most people wouldn't think of doing, but there's a small little thing you can do with holding out your sword and tapping A next to King's Tomb to open it without having to bonk into it.
And I think OhHeyItsDavid now is getting his book out. He's going to check to see if it's a pedestal required, to see if he has to go into Ice Palace. Don't know if he realizes he has the requirements for the ferry, and that will unlock Bombos for him if he could just make the play. But OhHeyItsDavid absolutely playing from behind at this point in time. He has made a valiant effort up until this point in time, but SaltyPhry going to find the Ice Rod here directly and then nope out of there. Oh, and Salty is going to eschew the left side, so he is going to pick up the Ice Rod, but then miss the boots. Oh, this could be bad.
Because there's definite possibility that the big key in Ganon's tower is actually located on the pedestal, which is boots required, and David is making the play into Ice Palace.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all for OhHeyItsDavid.
Because a full clear of Ice Palace is a long and arduous process.
Absolutely. And SaltyPhry gets his Ice Rod, and SaltyPhry is officially in go mode. Now, he doesn't have the boots, so if we end up being a boots required seed because the big key is on the pedestal, this is kind of a risk for SaltyPhry, but he's going to go ahead and do it. It's that 1 in 22 chance, so it's less than a 5% chance that the big key is there, making that play.
The back and forth on these two runners has been spectacular to watch. Just, David being in the lead and Salty taking over, and just the little nuances and changes in how they're routing, and the 1 or 2 item differences that are going to make the difference in the race.
No, it's been absolutely amazing to watch at this point in time. SaltyPhry making the early Turtle Rock check, putting him kind of in advantage from the get-go. OhHeyItsDavid playing catch-up while Salty has to kind of nibble at these overworld locations. But then Salty finally getting his Ice Rod, going into go mode, while OhHeyItsDavid, instead of checking the Pyramid Ferry, going into Ice Palace. This has been an absolute amazing run. At this point in time, the only way that David can catch up is going to be if the big key is required on the torch, since SaltyPhry does not have the boots. He'll have to back out eventually.
And an excellent one-shot bomb jump by David in Ice Palace there.
So SaltyPhry making his way. He's already cleared out Turtle Rock, even the laser bridge. So he's got his key. He's just going to make his way through here as quickly as possible. David did find the 4th sword, though, so there's going to be no butter for SaltyPhry. And I sure hope OhHeyItsDavid knows how to count his items, because as soon as he gets his last item, he's going to nope out of there. He's already checked pedestal, knows that it's not going to be worthwhile for him to defeat Cold Stare if he gets all of his items beforehand.
So something else to think about at this point is David might have 4 bottles. However, he does not have the powder for any extra security measures for, say, any extra anti-fairies or things like that. So if he does happen to get low, Phry actually does have the powder and the bug net along with his 3 bottles. So if there's any situations where he might need to grab a fairy, he is readily prepared. And there have been other races that I've seen where a fairy on Ganon can actually make the difference.
We have, it's, you know, I'll go ahead and say it's going to be kind of a long shot with both red mail with these. And it's, you know, while it was early hearts a little bit low, we're sitting at quite a healthy seed, all things considering right now, simply because of all the checking that these runners have had to do up to this point in time.
Yeah, that is true. So Salty finishing up his Turtle Rock run here shortly.
And chat pointing something out that I had not seen yet. SaltyPhry only has 5 arrows. If more than a couple arrows, I mean, he's not going to be able to get all the way through Ganon's Tower without picking up some arrows, because there's at least 4 required if your aim is perfect.
I do believe that there are some arrows inside some of the red mimic rooms in GT. David checking the big chest here. Unfortunately, we know it won't contain what he needs.
Nope, and if David counts his items properly, I think everything's done, so this is going to be a fruitless Cold Stare, although it's a green pendant. He could be thinking Bombos could be on the green pendant as well.
And that always makes the plays difficult in green pendant dungeons, but just because you know that there's another guaranteed item locked behind that green pendant.
In the meantime, SaltyPhry is on his way over to Ganon's Tower, and ladies and gentlemen and other non-binary folk in chat, we have a little game we like to play once we start entering Ganon's Tower. There are 22 locations that the key could be located in Ganon's Tower. Make your predictions. Where is it going to be? I think we have a very popular opinion at this point in time where they want it to be. Angska, where do you think it's going to end up being?
I have to go with Torch Key.
It feels like it, doesn't it? Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be. I'm going to shout out to Bob's Chest here, but we'll see. And SaltyPhry making that play first, because if it's here.
Oh,
nope.
It is a key, but not the big key.
And OhHeyItsDavid on his way over to Sahasrara, going to be disappointed when he gets there.
Couple of frustration slashes while leaving Sahasrara after just getting a piece of heart. So.
And now he knows he's going to have to check the Pyramid Fairy. He made the gamble, and I think he knows it too. He's playing from behind at this point in time.
main pause. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, SaltyPhry doing a Dark Magician strat here, opting for the left side until you get to that room with the 4 skeletons in it, and then opting to go right side here.
And there was a 10 arrow drop, and Salty has opted not to pick it up.
I don't know if he realizes how close it's going to be.
Oh, and David going for his butter sword.
He's thinking maybe vanilla bombos, but nope.
And there's 10 arrows in the chest for Fry. So...
Alright, Fry is working his way through here and getting Pyramid. OhHeyItsDavid's going to Pyramid Fairy while Fry pulls out his cape to get through these last few areas.
I really do like this Dark Magician strat. Those Stalfos can always be a pain to kill, and as long as you know your rooms, this path can be an extremely quick path.
It can be. To me, it's still kind of a risky proposition simply because of the number of chests that are on the left side there. But to each their own. And oops.
He doesn't have boots anyway, so he would have to do the bomb jump, unfortunately.
Oh, that's right. Okay. And OhHeyItsDavid picking up his bombos and immediately going to mirror and flute over. Disappointed.
Salty making an expected short work of the Armos 2 fight. Oh my.
Nope. And it's there on the left side if he would have just continued on.
Actually, chat pointing out it's still a possibility of it being a tile room.
Yep, tile room is still very much a possibility. It's not gonna... I mean, I don't think it's going to take a lot for David to catch up at this point in time, unfortunately. But it could be we're still being trolled here.
The seed has done a fairly good job of that already.
Yes, it absolutely has. The nice thing for OhHeyItsDavid is he will be able to go mode Misery Mire, and he's going to get that early key and just go to town.
Yeah, it's definitely going to save him some time.
So Angska, walk me through, if you're one of these runners right now, you're at an hour 48 into this particular seed. It's been a little bit trolly, but not overly trolly. You don't see a dot done yet. What's going through your mind?
I mean, if I'm David, I'm assuming that Fry is already in Ganon's tower and starting to work through it. If I'm SaltyPhry, I'm expecting David to be right on my heels, if not just ahead of me.
And there's the big key for SaltyPhry. Checking the last one, just hoping for butter. We know it's not there. So he's going to progress his way. It's going to be kind of a slow ascent because it's bootless for SaltyPhry at this point in time. 19. So late there. Shout out to RD Walshby. I'm butchering your name, congratulations. You win chat room's love and affection.
Salty making quick work of those 2 red mimic rooms.
Yep, and this ascent through Ganon's Tower is something that most runners have practiced through various scenarios. He's got Riot Shield, he's got Red Mail, he's got Tempered. He's not worried about this one bit.
And it looks like David gets the 0 cycle.
Very well, and he'll mirror, and he's on his way up to Ganon's Tower now. Going to be a little bit farther behind. I absolutely love the suggestion in chat just a little bit ago, where we use Ganon Falls as a unit of time measurement of how far someone is behind. For example, we can say, OhHeyItsDavid is roughly 6 or 7 Ganon Falls behind at this point.
Yeah, I'd say that's about right.
While we see SaltyPhry making his way through this and gets prepared for his Landmo 2 fight, give a quick shout out. What else is going on here on Speed Gaming? At 10 o'clock Eastern here on Speed Gaming the Original, we do have another match. So immediately following this one, I know it's supposed to get started soon, but immediately following here, we're going to have Super Nin Taylor versus Swerve. Over on Speed Gaming 2 at 11 o'clock Eastern, we have Mr. Barry Bonds versus Nicolachi. And at 11:30 on Speed Gaming 3, we have McLagging versus Jay Copper. So lots of rando action still going on tonight. If you're a rando fan, it's a great night to stay up and avoid trick-or-treaters by keeping the rest of your lights out and sharing on your internet screen.
You could always share the love with some of your trick-or-treaters as well, and pick up some, say, Butterfinger candy bars to denote the butter sword.
I mean, if you like kids, I don't particularly like kids. They're kind of snotty and they have disease. So no, thank you. But if that's your thing, I won't judge you.
Yeah, I can't argue with that too much.
SaltyPhry picking up his last key required, so he's making quick work over to Aga. OhHeyItsDavid is following kind of the standard right side route up to this point in time, and probably was hoping for that key to be exactly there on the torch because of the out of the way location those boots were, but fortunately not making it through.
Fry making his way through Trolldorm 2 here. And it looks like David's going to be taking care of those stealth foes, so he'll be going left side. And Fry picks up the final chest for a total of 100 rupees there.
Run officially validated.
So with David making this left side play, I would say he's definitely caught up maybe a minute or two on time, although we'll see how quick Fry takes care of Aghanim. And well done with the triple on the last shot.
Absolutely here. SaltyPhry on his way to Ganon with almost full hearts, most of his magic still intact. This should be relatively quick work from SaltyPhry. It's going to take him, I mean, yeah, we're about 4 or 5 Ganon falls ahead at this point in time, so really liking that unit of measurement. Well, OhHeyItsDavid picks up his big key and it starts his climb up the tower. Tibbs 1508 asks, does butter versus tempered make any difference against Ganon? It does, but the difference is minimal. I think the difference is 6 swings versus 12 swings, which when you compare it to the 24 full spins for Master Sword is relatively minimal, especially when you can do what SaltyPhry is and just kind of go to town on Ganon there.
Yeah, you're definitely able to one cycle all of Ganon's phases with tempered or butter. Oh,
he's getting close, and oh, nice double, and he gets his final shot. SaltyPhry, GG, getting that hit in.
Yeah, that was an excellent run through of this seed. Definitely not taking anything away from David, though, because he did a great job as well.
Absolutely. It was just one routing decision that made the difference here. So SaltyPhry passing through the door, completing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 33 seconds. We're going to see if SaltyPhry would like to come in here for a quick comment. We're going to have to keep it relatively short because of the programming note for the next race that's supposed to start here, but we'll see what we can do. Meanwhile, OhHeyItsDavid able to use those boots to make up a little bit more time, just not quite there. And joining us now is SaltyPhry. GG, my friend. How you feeling after that?
Yes, GG, well done.
So we gotta ask, I mean, the main separation that ended up happening here was your early dive into Turtle Rock. What prompted you to make that dive there? We're having a little bit of trouble hearing you, Salty. Could you do a mic check, please? I'm so sorry. We're just having a real rough time hearing you, and chat's not able to hear you either.
Looks like David is setting up for a hover attempt again. Oh, and he does it!
OhHeyItsDavid pulling the Andy. Swag strats now that he's lost.
Hello, can you hear me better now?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay, so yeah, that whole Turtle Rock thing. Yeah, I was wandering through Spiral Cave. I had quite a little while to think about it. Originally, I didn't really have access to the laser bridge according to the logic. And then I just happened to get the mirror shield out of that chest in Spiral Cave, and that just kind of sealed the deal there. Decided to go in, see what there was, hoped for the best, and paid off big with that bow, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Like, I guess I also felt pretty good when I found that cane early on over on that over on the pyramid, because I know that's a spot that people don't necessarily go to right at the beginning. And the cane's one of those things that, since it doesn't block you out of spots, it can be really tough to find later on.
Yeah, I believe you went and checked pyramid 5 or 10 minutes earlier than David.
Yeah, pretty much right when I went from Hype Cave there, went from there right on up to that and Catfish.
Yeah, actually, that early check into Hype Cave was pretty big too, getting you Master Sword nice and early.
Yeah, I have a tendency of not checking that just because a lot of the time it doesn't seem like it has anything anymore, so even just one sword is pretty big these days.
I will say you ended up checking a lot of overworld locations. OhHeyItsDavid made an earlier check into Swamp Palace that had the ice rod, so we knew where everything was. And you looked like you were going there early, and then you're routed away for some overworld locations, and literally everyone was like, no, go back, go!
I left my portal there because I just wanted to check a few spots before I went in there, because I figured checking the whole thing can take a while, and if it's sitting out there on the overworld, I didn't want to clear the whole dungeon and then end up clearing the overworld anyway, and I could just leave my portal there. So the only thing I really didn't want to check was Zora, because I figured I'd have to save and quit out of there, and I'd lose my portal right at the entrance of Swamp. So I was always going to go back in there. If I hadn't gone into Turtle Rock, I almost certainly would have gone into Swamp. That's originally what I was thinking at that time, was to go into Swamp. I had just gotten the mirror out of Hera. And then, actually, the other thing that really helped was getting the fire rod right next to Turtle Rock as well. That helped motivate me, because I figured I could clear the whole thing other than Trinex worst case scenario.
Yeah, the double dip into Turtle Rock didn't end up hurting you a whole lot. You had to double dip, yeah, but it saved you time climbing, so I mean that ended up helping you, long story short. Yeah, it was just kind of a really interesting scene. We were counting down. David, I think the other separating factor is you guys were just neck and neck there for a while. He had to dive and get the Pyramid Fairy, while you had to dive into Swamp Palace to get the Ice Rod, and he instead opted to go into Ice Palace, searching for that Bombos, and that's why he's only just now finishing up, as I'm announcing his official time as 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 29 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty good just because I didn't go into Ice or Swamp until the very end there, because I figured there was a reasonable chance he might have tried going in there, looking for the bow or something like that at some point in time, so I felt pretty good not going into those places specifically.
And it looks like David is in the waiting room, so I'm going to pull him in here. And hey, David, GG's.
GG's.
Shout out for those swag strats there. Hovering, I mean, after you've lost the race, of course, hovering on Troll Dorm and then taking no damage with only 2 hearts on Ganon.
Had to go out with a bang.
Oh, yes, and the Bugnet strats on Aga too as well. So, I mean, wow. Just wow. So, I gotta say, how much are you regretting that Ice Palace play?
Very much. I honestly thought it was Bombos was gonna be in there, just because of like what was in the other pendant dungeons. So I got blinded.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Nope, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I mean, with pendant dungeons and all that, it was definitely definitely the best play to make. Unfortunately, it just didn't pay out.
Yeah, you guys were neck and neck up into that point in time. Unfortunately, Salty made the early play into Turtle Rock. You made it a little bit later, But the nice thing is that you had the boots on that left side of Swamp, so you were making up time left and right, just being able to catch up, and would have been neck and neck if it not for that Ice Palace check.
Yeah. Honestly, I was like thinking there's nowhere else I could go, and I didn't really want to go into Turtle Rock, but so I decided to go into Swamp. So I was lucky it paid off with boots and Ice Rod. Yeah, Ice Rod.
Yep. So GG to both these runners. I mean, last question, SaltyPhry. You're now moved to 3-3. You're in the play-in game. Are you nervous for this Saturday?
I'm excited for it, actually. I love these big races. They're a little more relaxing, I find, than the head-to-head. You just kind of do your own thing and hope for the best in the bigger races. In the head-to-head, you're really worrying about what your opponent's doing the whole time. Did they do the same thing as me? Are they ahead of me? In this, I can just kind of go with it and hope for the best, really.
Excellent. Well, I would love to be able to keep and talk to you guys all night. Unfortunately, though, we have another match coming up directly. We have Superman Taylor versus Swerb. I believe this is also an elimination match right here on Speed Gaming. So, chat, please stick around. Come in. Adirondack Rick pointing out the play-in race is going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. I'm sure we'll be broadcasting that on all channels, so get ready. One last shout out. My name is Vitasia. I have Angska, my wonderful co-commentator, also Dude and Feasel, our tracker and restreamer. Once again, oh hey, it's David, SaltyPhry. Give them a like and follow if you like what they saw. Shout out to everyone, and get ready and get hyped for this next Superman Taylor and Swerve race. Thanks you, everyone.
Yep, thank you.